Okay, next question. This is from Joey.
Hello, Paul. Hope you're well. Um, my question's to do with making journeys as part of a group, and more specifically, what I can do to bring some additional value to my sort of place in the group. I'm becoming a little bit more confident now in my fundamental skills, and I think I'm in a good place to start making some more extended journeys. And I just wondered what your thoughts were regarding what makes a good travelling companion, in addition to the sort of basics of being able to carry your own weight and being confident in your own sort of fundamental skills. Um, Also, just wanted to say thanks again for the effort you put into the Paul Kirtley episodes. It's been a really good, detailed, vast library of knowledge I can get into, and it's really helped me improve some of the skills that I have alongside all the other online content and the field courses. So thanks again for that, Paul. All right, cheers, bye.
Nice one, Joey. If I looked distracted a little bit there as the question was playing, a buzzard just swooped down and flew across about 10 meters behind the cameras and through the woods. That was quite cool to see. But I was listening, Joey, and that's a very good question, and I'll get into that. I wanted to say first, though, it's been really nice to see your personal journey in terms of where you want to get to. Joey's done a couple of courses with me, with Frontier. He did the Expedition Canoeing Skills course with me last year. He's done our elementary course. He's got access to our online courses as well. And it's been really nice to see your personal journey with your skills, both with us at Frontier, but also with what you've been doing with Woodcraft School and John Ryder's program there, and what you're doing now with Canoe Trails. It's really nice to see that progression, and yeah, good for you. It shows that with determination you can go a long way. So well done to you. And you're coming on the Spey with us later this year as well. So it's a pertinent question from that perspective. I'll try not to be too selfish. Cup of tea at 7 o'clock in the morning makes a good travelling companion. As far as Ray Goodwin's concerned, it does. But I'll try not to be too selfish in my answer. I'll give you a good general answer from the perspective of having made a lot of journeys with other people, some of whom have paid me to lead them, and some of whom have just, we've done them as peers, as friends, or maybe I'm the more experienced friend and they've wanted me to come along to give them some, backstop skills or whatever. Done a lot of trips, hiking trips, snowshoeing trips, canoeing trips, ski touring trips, etc., etc. So what makes a good traveling companion? So I would say someone who just accepts what is going on in terms of the weather, the conditions, etc. Someone who can be a bit stoic in the face of shitty conditions. I think that's, if you can find the funny side of things when things are a bit tough, those type of people always make good traveling companions. You don't want people who just add to the suck when the situation's already a bit challenging, and so that, I think, if you can put a positive spin and a smiley face, even if it's type 2 fun, that's useful just as a general mindset for you undertaking trips, and it's also useful for the rest of the group if you are positive even in the face of challenges. I would say that's useful. I would also say someone who's self-aware. We all get tired, we all get grumpy, those things. Just be aware when you're starting to feel a little bit hangry, or be aware of the fact that you're getting dehydrated, etc. And don't be afraid to say, actually, I need to stop and eat something, I need to drink something, because other people in the group probably will as well. So don't be afraid, don't grumble, but equally don't be afraid to express a need, because that can be a good barometer for the group as well. Not to say that the leader shouldn't be trying to keep an eye on you and you shouldn't be putting in suitable breaks for drinks and food and rest and things, but it's still useful if there is a bit of a feedback loop there even for a competent leader, because everyone's different, right? And you get to know a group over the course of a trip. Then I would say someone who's just willing to help with what, if you're talking about being a group member with a leader, what's always useful is if you're just willing to help. So once you start to, at the beginning of a trip, you might not know what the routine is, so you might be, looking for direction, and that's absolutely fine, and a good leader will give you direction. It's like, we need some people to get firewood, we need some people to set this tarp up, we need some people to establish this fireplace, or whatever it is. We need some people to do the washing up. Can you go and get this stuff out of the barrels? Can you unpack the food bag? Can you hydrate this food? Whatever it is, whatever the routine is for that trip. We need someone to go and get the water filter running, etc., and be shown how to do that. But once you know the camp routine after a few days, it's useful if you use a bit of initiative. It really takes the strain off. And it's also useful if you just offer to do things. I'll just, Paul, is there anything that needs doing right now? That's always really, really useful, rather than the leader having to always kick people into action. The flip side of that is someone who, you get into camp, they go and set their own stuff up, they come into the group camp, they've got their folding chair, they open their folding chair and they sit down, right? That kind of chaps me a little bit. There's no kind of, with my trips, and I'm talking about the context of my trips, you're not on some kind of 5-star safari. It is us as a group making a journey. Okay, myself and someone like Ray Goodwin or Dave or Kai Marone from Lure of the North, we are the leaders, and we are there to keep you safe, and we are there to give the trip direction and shape. But we need the participants to participate. It's not just about getting up in the morning and paddling from A to B, or getting up in the morning and snowshoeing from A to B. You also need to help put the tent up. You need to help get the firewood in. You need to help cook dinner. You need to help wash up. You need to help put the boats away at the end of the day. You need to help take the barrels out into the woods, so that they're away from camp in bear country. If everyone just kind of sits in camp, waits to be catered to and goes to bed, then there's a lot of jobs not done there. So it's picking up those jobs and, asking what needs to be done, and then seeing what needs to be done, and doing the job fully if you're doing it, rather than just half-arsing it as well. If you're tasked with getting firewood, get plenty of firewood. Don't just kind of go and get a little bit and then sit down and carry on drinking your cup of tea, because then someone else has got to do it, so there's enough firewood to cook the dinner. And I find where the metal really meets the road, or the rubber really meets the road, if you like, is when the weather's bad at the end of a difficult day. The people who have the right attitude on trips are the ones who are going out into the rain, getting firewood, quickly getting helping get some food ready, helping the leader get some food ready, or saying, okay, me and Dave, we'll get that, what's for dinner, we'll get it sorted. Or getting knowing that the routine is to get a bunch of hot water on to start off with, because we need cups of tea, we need to fill flasks, we need to rehydrate food. It's just like, right, I've gone and got the water already. As soon as the fire's on, we can get the water on. Just having that kind of usefulness is the thing that makes a difference. I've got the water filter on. You showed me how to do it yesterday. I've got that up and running. Those sorts of things are super useful. Looking for things to do, not trying to do everything, not taking over, not being a busybody, but just being helpful rather than just sitting back and expecting someone else to do it. That's actually really, really useful as a traveling companion, as part of a group. Speaking from the leader's perspective, going back to sort of a more sort of broad brush, someone who's also just aligned with enjoying being out in nature. For me, I like the journey as much as the destination, right? So there are some people I've traveled with who they just want to get to camp at the end of the day. they wanted to have a physical challenge, they want to do it hard and fast and tough, and they want to get to camp, or they're stressed about some of the things that we've got to negotiate during the day, and they just want to get it done, they want to get it ticked off. I'm the same. I want to get to camp. I want to get there safely. I want to get there in good time so that we've got time in camp. But equally, I want to, you know, if there are otters to watch, I want to stop and watch them. You know, I want to be quiet so that we can see wildlife. You know, I want people that are looking for a harmonious experience in nature rather than just being loud and hard and fast. Because that doesn't really gel with the way that I like to travel through nature. So yeah, for me, those are all things, you know, and that's not true of everyone, but that's, you know, speaking from my personal experience. Yeah, just, you know, bring a bit of humour, stay positive when things are tough, look for what needs to be done, be helpful. If you find yourself sitting around and other people are doing stuff, maybe ask what needs to be done. And sometimes there doesn't need to be things done. What I don't want, if I've got 8 people on a trip with me and another leader, I don't want everyone busy every night or every morning with no time to themselves. I would rather a few people do dinner and a few people have some downtime to write their journal one evening, and then the next evening maybe we swap around so that some other people can have a bit of downtime and other people are busy, rather than everyone trying to do a little bit. But just ask is always helpful. Offer your services, offer your help. That's always useful, and be looking for things to do. And, you know, if there isn't anything to do, go chill, because that's valuable as well. As you know, in terms of the group dynamic as a whole, the more tired people get and the less time they feel like they've got to themselves, the more worn they get over the course of a journey. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to think about at the moment, and hopefully that's useful to you.